But beyond that, I'll get to the juicy part of the chapter, the transmutation circle, and who I'm and the community has been referring to as Stabs this whole time. I don't believe it's Shanks.
Stabs.
I believe it's Shanks's. I don't want to say twin brother because that's so goofy. No offense, but
how dare you?
It could very well be a twin or a sibling or older sibling or cousin or uncle, whatever. But this person looks a lot like Shanks, and odds are this is probably the person that showed up at Mary Jo to talk to the Gorosei. Earlier, we did have a super chat that was highlighting this exact moment. It says, I definitely believe that Shanks is on Elbaf. I think we just finally seeing what Shanks does off panel. I don't believe that this is Shanks. I'm of the belief Loki didn't kill King Harold. This person transmutated into Elbaf 6 years ago and tried to kill King Harold or killed King Harold in order to steal his devil fruit. Loki witnessed it and then ate the fruit to protect it from getting taken by these people. When the mission failed, this dude basically was like, hey man, F this, like we out because the mission failed. So they left. They realized they couldn't kill Loki, whatever. When they get to the Elbaf people get to the castle, they realize King Harold's dead. Loki's here with the devil fruit. And he's like, yo, Shanks did it. Because that dude looked exactly like Shanks. But it's like, yo, Shanks is somewhere else. He's a famous pirate who's doing battle with somebody else right now. Or Shanks is currently on Elbaf right now, right there. How could he have been the one that killed King Harold? There's witnesses saying that he didn't. It's a mistaken identity situation. This would be Oda setting it up several years in the past if that person at the Gorosei we're talking to was this guy. And like we were talking about earlier, I think it was even another super chat, could it be that this person was like, yo, who the hell is this pirate? The pirate I want to talk about is Shanks because why does this pirate look exactly like me? On the ocean sailing, and he's this Yonko now. That was during Reverie. I think it was chapter 907, I think it is. There's a lot of theories and stuff circulating. I don't know what to believe. I like that one. I think it makes the most sense. It ties a lot into what we see in the themes of One Piece overall. People being framed for murders or crimes they didn't commit to overthrow kingdoms and things. That kind of happens a lot. Oda likes to repeat some of the same story elements. I think I already highlighted that I think that Loki's beginning of his story reminded me of Zoro's. And like that would be another kind of tie-in with that, where it's like I'm getting framed for a crime I didn't really commit. But I'm really excited. Like beyond all the theory crafting, I'm excited because now it looks like we have our villains of this arc. I don't know what Luffy's reaction will be to these people. Like he'll probably think this is Shanks. I'm excited to see where we go from here. I really am. I know a lot of people have been saying like this is more proof positive of what we were ranting about last week about like the Garling scarring. I don't think this is that per se. It's just more evidence to it, but there's no proof here. Yeah. Anyway, maybe. Right? There's at least this other character that potentially looks just like Shanks, or is this Shanks? And Shanks has been a mole this whole time. Who knows? Who knows yet? One day we'll know. I don't believe it's Shanks. I believe it's Stabs, which I think is a hilarious name.
Stabs.
I'm also
you better
curious.
have a better name than that.
I'm also curious as to who this other person is. Like nobody talking about this other person. Like who that? That's really it for me. I'm just excited because we got our villains.
All right, Lionel.
With this whole Shanks lookalike, I know the side of the face like looks like Shanks, but we got to see. We never see the other side. Like both times we see this person, it's always the side without the scar. And I know other chapters when you look at Shanks' face when he's talking to Bartolomeo, and you see Shanks' face on the side talking to Whitebeard, you see a little bit of the scar mark where they're coming over. Well, this you don't. And I don't know if it's the shading, the hair, or the cloak blocking it, but I'm not exactly sure. That's what makes it probably think of it could be a different person. I actually don't know. Nobody really knows. People think it's the Shanks twin. Even though I looked back to how the Gorosei talked to Shanks, or the Shanks lookalike, it was different. Like, it was weird. It was so vague. It could have been talking to Shanks, but also could have been implying that they were talking to somebody that looked like Shanks, that he was working for them. Because the wording and how they were saying it could apply for both worlds. Because why would Shanks need to see the Gorosei to talk about a pirate? And why would the Gorosei would let that happen? They want to listen to Shanks? Because you're saying you shouldn't be interested in politics. That could be, all right, why is a pirate interested in politics? Because you're a pirate. Or it could be your position is in the shadows. Your choice or your job description doesn't involve politics. It involves something else. There could be so many different things. I don't know. I actually started thinking of another different theory. Because going by Shanks' past of what we know, that Shanks was found in a treasure chest by the Roger pirates. But we don't know exactly Shanks' origin. Did anybody thought of Shanks being, not cloned, but think of the Vinsmoke family? Like how they were genetically modified into something. We know the Gorosei, and mostly Saturn, because he was a scientist, did a lot of experiments on people. One of them is Bonnie and his mother. We know that she was experimented on and gave Bonnie the same illness that she got, but also gave her ability as well. Shanks' origin is so vague, and we just know they found in the treasure chest. Whether they had connection with the world government or not, we don't know. But some mostly think that they found the treasure chest at God Valley. But I don't think they ever clarified that. The Roger Pilot found Shanks' in a baby at God Valley. They just said he just found him in a treasure chest some point in maybe West Blue or someplace on the Grand Line, and Shanks knows maybe that he was from West Blue. I don't know. I have to look back. I don't
I
remember.
think the chapter said like shortly after God Valley or something like that.
See, that's gonna
That's in a volume cover.
Yeah.
But see, again, that could mean that they found it like during God Valley or like a little island after God Valley. They went to an island in West Blue and found Shanks. Whether he has connection to the world government, we don't know. I just thought of like not necessarily like the Vince folks like making twins and now it's another twin modification like Zanji and it's quadruplets of Yanji, Ichiji, and them. But I just thought of like that concept of Shanks being a mystery of we don't know his origin. We don't know his parents. We don't know nothing. I know people link Shanks to Fingerlin, but honestly, even I rewatched the movie, the only thing they reference Shanks to Fingerlin is when they talk about Shanks possibly being Uta's father with a question mark and said that if she might have Fingerlin's blood. And again, that's also vague in itself because we know for a fact that Shanks is actually not Uta's real father. But I think people could think the fact that they thought that Shanks was Uta's father, that she might actually have it, linking to Shanks possibly being Fingerlin's son or whatever. I also thought of like the modifications or Shanks possibly being created and maybe using Fingerlin's blood to make Shanks and maybe another clone and stuff. I just thought of what if Shanks is modified also after Eam. Before we know if this is actually really Shanks or not, that also gives me an illusion to why the Gorosei would also want to listen to what he has to say. Because has connection to maybe Fingerlin or Eam himself. Because I thought of why would Eam need a clone or whatever, but I thought maybe Eam, his immortality could be running low, and he needed something to replace the movie that the X-Men, Apocalypse, how that guy's, his power, everything was there, body was deteriorating. All the power he's going to have, he's just going to switch it to another body. So he's going to keep his mind and all his powers, but it's going to be in a different body. I thought of that, but I'm like, I don't know if that fully makes sense, because we know Eam's immortality, but we also don't know what he looks like. I'm just going by the mysteriousness of Shanks' connection possibly to the Gorosei and Eam and the Fingerlin family and whatever, and plus the transportation thing they came into. So like, whether if Shanks is actually part of it, or if it's a twin, or it's actually both. Shanks is, but not necessarily because they are modified and there end up being two versions of Shanks. One with the world government, and they also could have lost that one. They're supposed to be two, or it ended up being two by mistake. One got, lost, Shanks, and the other one ended up staying with the Gorosei. Like a weird Iron Mask version, but a different aspect or view of it. But that's why mine went. I just started theorizing on, but yeah.
All right, Law, let's hear what you got to say.
So going into this lookalike of Shanks, I'm going to call him a Shanks lookalike, not necessarily twin, even though it basically looks exactly like
Do y'all want them to be twins?
I don't know. You know how Oda doesn't try to recycle things over? He already did the twins route with the...
So you think Lionel's are recycled?
That's not what
I legit was asking you and Lionel specifically. Like, how would y'all feel about this major twin shakeup potentially? Would that be, like, empowering to y'all? Or, like...
Do you feel like you're being represented?
Do you feel like representation from that?
No.
No?
Not even a little bit.
Do you need a scar on your face? Is that what it is? Do one of y'all need, like, a permanent scar? I have one. I can give you one.
I have a scar on my eyebrow.
Was that from the controller that Lawrence threw at you?
No. Why you gotta bring up old stuff?
I forgot about that. My bad, Lawrence. I cut you off.
No. Bruh. If it looks like it'll be the whole same old evil twin, good twin, so to speak,
See how it plays out.
So, yeah, that's true. But to me, there's no way, if you're allied with the world government or the Gorosei and them, I can't see you as someone who's good. You're evil. Because everything they do is just about evil. They're selfish, they only care about their own, and they're like, forget everyone else in the world, as long as we eat. But what I want to point out, right, this lookalike, I tried even looking to see if the symbol that they appeared on with was different from like what
it's the
same. It's the same, right? To why I don't think it's Shanks. Something about it tells me that it's not Shanks. Yeah, people talk about the scar, and it's funny how it shows the same exact side when we see him when he first showed. That's the side he's showing. He gave us nothing more, the same exact frame. You could have almost, he didn't though. You could have copied and just pasted. Well, last time we see Shanks was with just leaving Bartolomeo, his island, doing what they did to Bartolomeo, and then having time to do this to me doesn't make sense. Also, too, Shanks kind of shows that he's like always with his crew. The one time we saw that he left his crew, he was on Mary Jo's. To me, that seemed like suspect. Like I know you just leave your crew to go here. Where do they think you're going, or where do they know you're going? If it's not Shanks, to me, it makes more sense that someone else is moving this way. I know people are saying this is confirmation about Garling and all that stuff. I can't help but notice, and this is nothing really, but the way Lionel brought out, the way they spoke to supposedly Shanks lookalike on chapter 907, and the way they spoke to Garling on 11 whatever. I have it here. I just forgot the number. It's very, very different. This is the Gorosei speaking to Shanks lookalike. And it says, what do you want? Why would you come all this way? This is the reverie given your standing. You should have nothing to do with politics. We arranged this time on your request. And then the Shanks lookalike says, I appreciate that. Right? And then they respond, Let's hear what you have to say. Guards, leave us, right? So notice the tone here that they give, kind of like relatively respectful. But if you check the tone that they give Garling when he rolls up, they said, "What do you think you're doing here, Garling? I'm here on important orders." What orders? From whom? Where's your proper difference, Garling? Know your place. The attitude here seems like, not saying that it means anything, but I always thought that was weird. Garling's basically one of their own. Yeah, he may be at a lower status at that time, but he's still high ranked because he's the captain of the Royal Guards. He's not one of the other celestial dragons that have no rank. He's ruling over the Celestial. He judges them. He's probably at a rank just below you guys. Why is this Shanks lookalike kind of giving more of a respectful tone in response to them showing up?
I have one reason why. To me, it seems that he asked for an audience.
Okay.
Versus Garling just pulling up with no request to meet.
Yes, I
that
thought
was my one, like, because I read that too, I was like, yo, they came at Garling a little crazy.
Yeah, right?
And they didn't come at this dude a little crazy. This person seemed to have asked for an audience with the Gorosei and was granted one, similar to Cobra, while Garling just pulled up, strutting in like, hey man, sup? This how y'all living? Is my couch.
I thought of that too. That's why I say I don't think this is a Shanks himself, because even if it was a request, like he also is a pirate, and if he supposedly has for Garling blood, but look at how they treated the father. So I'm thinking what the Shanks look like. To me, he has a different status. And also too, that thing about politics shows that you're standing. I understand, like, all right, you're a pirate and your ranking, you may not necessarily deal with politics, but then you kind of see that Yonkos kind of own their own countries. To a certain extent, they have their own territories. Yes, it's not reverie level, yeah, they do this, but the fact that you're sitting in politics kind of seems something different, as in your arrangement here is not the same as what a Yonko is. And not like Yonkos wouldn't have no type of interest in the referee at all, because they're taking over territories. But if you have something different, I'm actually, this is why I believe this is not Shanks, and I guess people already believe that already, but for those who think that they are, I don't know, I could be wrong. To me, it's like languages.
11% of the people in our chat that voted said they think it's still just Shanks.
Still Shanks. So yeah, all right, so low number here, right? So I'm just thinking it's very interesting how Oda wrote this. Another mystery is just credit to him because it has us discussing it like this. I can't wait to see this reveal because how Oda did it. Because also too, I've never seen Shanks wear a hoodie in his life, and this one, both times we've seen it, and how his style of doing anything, it just seems very different from the Shanks that we've seen. And also too, always seen Shanks with his crew, never a time really without his crew. They would notice that he's gone. We can move on from me until I think of it again.
I want to start off by saying I'm not a fan of like another Shanks existing. I've mentioned it before, like a while back. I just don't like the thought process of Shanks having a clone. It kind of makes me feel like the whole Blackbeard theory of 3 personalities. I don't want it to take away from Shanks' character, and I feel like it does that. No disrespect to the twins. But I just don't like it. It feels like kind of shoehorned in. It seems like very important information because Shanks happens to be the influence of the main protagonist of the show. And I feel like because we have had nothing from Shanks for such a long time, dropping this kind of bombshell on us, I just don't like the writing of it. I'm not going to say it's bad writing. I just don't like it personally. But if I am to make some sense of it, to at least keep everybody's minds intrigued, I'll say this. I believe this Shanks lookalike is a clone instead of a brother.
Okay.
Here's why. Shanks was found in a treasure chest, like these guys just said, 38 years ago, after God Valley, on Roger's ship in a treasure chest. You know what group existed a year before that?
Mads?
Mad Science Group. Mad started 39 years ago, and they got shut down about 26 years ago, I believe, because they were active for about 13 years. Remember why they had to get shut down?
They were researching the lineage factors.
Exactly. They found the lineage factor. This lineage factor, it was the blueprint of life. And technically, Vegapunk discovered it. Judge was also involved. Through the lineage factor came artificial devil fruits, green blood, modified humans like Stussy, cloning, as we've seen with Judge, and even the main ingredient of Smile Fruit, which was sad. What's really interesting is that in this chapter, we were just talking about Lilith and her perfect recreation cloning process. If Vegapunk and the Mad Science Group were possibly searching for funds, and they needed some in order to continue their research, why not search out to Celestial Dragons to say, hey, I got some deal you might be interested in. I could probably recreate your organs or recreate you as a person. That way, if you ever are near death, I can revive you, or I can make you have some life again. So I can see that happening where maybe the Garland family wanted to, if Garling is indeed Shanks' pops, he probably wanted to clone his son in case it didn't work out. The same way Outlook had Sabo, and Sabo didn't work out for him, and they were royalty, right? So he's like, just in case. He ends up cloning Shanks, but he just takes his blood. And he never really goes, hey, I perfected it. He goes, yo, I got something, but it's not official yet, so just wait on it. And we've seen that even Stussy can grow really quick in a short amount of time. The Vinsmoke family, it was said by Yonji that it takes what, like 2 years or how many years was it? Like 7 years or something for them to become grown adults?
Full grown adults.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
So I can see that happening with this current Shanks. Now, here's where the interesting part comes in. I believe these are God's Knights. I believe it's God's Knights because it's something that we had in a group text. We were talking about like the scarring of Whitebeard and how it could not be Whitebeard because of such things. And I felt like this was going to be brought up today, but it's not, because everybody was like, yo, Sebastian's like super right. It might be truly this. And I'm like, well, God's Knights have only intervened with the general public or have done anything when it came to the world government. On Gal Valley, the God's Knights were there because it was a protection for the Celestial Dragons that were there, but it was also an event involving the Celestial Dragons, involving Medi Joa. When Dragon goes, hey, the God's Knights are about to mobilize because of the things that we did, it was because it was the direct attack on the world government, on the Holy Land, saying we are committing war against you and we're taking out your food supplies too. And Dragon was like, oh, we got to watch out because they're about to mobilize. So it's always in reference to like the world government. Okay, now who's with the world government? York. York has a connection to Egghead, which is currently floating. On Egghead is this information box that all the satellites could actually connect to no matter how far they go away. So York knows that Lilith is currently alive. She probably knows that Lilith has the cloning technology that Vegapunk can actually come back in some shape or form, which would then give access to Elbaf having all this technology. Who do the Gorosei know is at Elbaf, or who was on their way to Elbaf? The same people that were opposing them. And that is who? Luffy and crew. Luffy is Joy Boy officially. They officially know this. Emu has felt it. So now we're starting to see that the God's Knights are coming to Elbaf because they are now a direct opposition of the world government. They're a threat. They're threatening us officially. And this transmutation circle was created by Saturn on Egghead at one point. That's just Emu's power. He transferred it to Garling because he has Saturn's powers. He's now able to create transmutation circles and send whoever he wants through them. And who is he in charge of? The God's Knights before he came to this position. So he sent God's Knights to Elbaf, and he seems to be the one that's most aggressive in how he handles the Gorosei. Like he kind of seems like he has an upper hand in them. So he's like, okay, you guys are gonna go here. I'm sending you here because of what's happening currently, and this is a threat to our nation. And because Garling kept that state of mind where he's like, yo, I probably need another son just in case this one doesn't work out, he sent Shanks' clone, who he considers his actual son. So for me, that's how it made sense. But I don't like if it's a twin brother. That's the thing for me. I don't care for it.
To me, I think the cloning takes more away from Shanks' character than him having a brother. Him having a brother is just some information that there's no reason for us to have had it.
Yeah.
Like Shanks isn't going to talk about this random brother that he may or may not know that he has. We don't see Mary Joa's day to day. We didn't know about the God's Knights existing. Like if Shanks has had a brother and it's been a God's Knight for the past 20 years or whatever, there's no natural way for us to have had that information in the story. It makes sense. And like I get not liking it because I don't really like the evil twin trope in general. I don't think it takes away from Shanks' character. And I think it could actually present us with an option or present us with a conflict that Shanks can have that's deeper. Like as much as I would hate it, this could get Shanks into the end game. Does that make sense? Him having this deeper connection with these characters to have a story to tell beyond just, oh, I'm Luffy's goal in the end. You know what I'm saying? This could get Shanks from being this, oh, he needs to just be a character that dies for the plot so that Luffy can be impacted, into, yo, I have an actual story to tell, to conflict between my brother and me and where we sit on this spectrum of life where it's like, I'm fighting for the bad guys and I'm fighting for like, you know what I'm saying? I don't even know if I like it, but there's more to that than even what I've always just wanted from Shanks. I'm excited about it for that element of it, even though it could be crapping all over everything I've wanted wanted for the character since forever. And maybe it's just me wanting more information about the guy. I think the cloning part, that is like, all right, well then now Shanks was great from birth, and like now he's getting cloned from birth.
So this is where I was going to point out, right? I don't feel like it takes away from Shanks' character when you have this cloning, because Shanks has been set up as a person that we all idolize the same way Luffy idolizes him. He's the person that we kind of like look at and go, yo, he's such a major head within One Piece that when you think of One Piece, you think of Shanks as much as you think of Luffy, as much as you think of the other Straw Hats. He's that essential to the story itself. And when you add a brother, yes, you can create that conflict for Shanks to have his own story and to develop. But when you give him a twin brother, it's kind of just like, now we have to add in, hey, this is more than just for Garland. It's my twin brother that I have to take out. And then what if they fight? Now we're seeing Shanks versus Shanks. And I don't really like that at all. It's worse for me when it's a brother, because now it's like you're forcing this like emotional weight onto the story where I just don't feel like it deserves it. Like I feel like with a clone, it's a little bit better. It's crazy because when you think about it, look what Saint Saturn was doing with Bonnie as a child. They were already experimenting on children. And he was the division commander of what? Science. It's possible that that's been happening for a while now, even when they've been experimenting with themselves. That was a celestial dragon's kid at the end of the day, like a random celestial dragon maybe, right? But it was still a celestial dragon. I can't say that Garling at that point during the God's Nights, during God Valley, was as important as Saturn, held more stature than Saturn. You know what I'm saying? Like eventually he became the head of the God Knights, where he was able to punish celestial dragons, but he was never able to punish the Gorosei. So the hierarchy was definitely there. He just wasn't a part of it. I just don't like the writing of it. I just can't see a Shanks versus Shanks type of thing. It just wouldn't make sense to me. And to go even further, now we have Seraphim. And we were discussing hard as hell at one point, do the Seraphims carry the wills of their predecessors? And we didn't know for sure until Boa's Seraphim started talking. And then she shared the same characteristics as Boa herself and liking Luffy. It was all there. If Vegapunk's capable of doing it then, and we have cloning currently happening, perfect recreation, that's what was said in this chapter, that's kind of like foretelling, hey, Shanks also has a perfect recreation.
So my small pushback is, wasn't Stussy said to be the first clone? Am I misremembering that? And she's like 36. So there's like slight differences in the aging. Because they were researching the lineage factor. It seemed to me as though they didn't get there yet. And Vegapunk was able to actually do it separately from Mads a couple years later. And Stussy's 36, right? So like, again, I don't know if that actually breaks the theory or not. Because who knows? It's clearly Saturn was doing his own thing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But
so the thing is, she's 36, right?
Okay.
God Valley happened 38 years ago. But the year before that, the science group was already formed.
Right.
So even if they found it 3 years later, took Stussy's DNA at some point during that time.
We don't have an age on this thing.
Exactly. She was already in it.
Most likely, yeah.
So it's like that, and if the cloning process is expedited, I could see how Shanks could have, an older Shanks or like a young Shanks could have existed around that time and been perfectly fine. Because Shanks right now is how old?
39.
39, yeah.
39. He's not that old, bro. If he was like 56, then we'd have a problem. But 39? And Stussy's 36? Yo, that's close as hell in age.
One, I could see definitely Garling in the way, because I'm support both sides. Think about Garling. If he was, for example, the ruler of the God's Knights, he was the head. And obviously he has his warriors that are underneath him. I could see him wanting to build up the perfect God Knight's army with just his DNA, where he makes clones of himself, where he's supporting, like, that is the God Knight army. I'm not saying he has a whole attitude of his own, but, like, his view, how he said, if you're judging other Celestial Dragons, your view of yourself is going to be pretty high. He said that you even liking or helping out the fishmen, he viewed you as lower than scum. If you want the absolute, you need more of me to meet the complete, that.
Like the Matrix?
Yeah, exactly.
More me.
Yes. So I can see Garling doing that. But I will say, him being Shanks' twin goes back to, remember that Jackie Chan movie?
Oh my
where the
God.
two twins were separated at birth? And they had two different lives?
Yeah, bro.
I gotta warm up to it. I do
can
not
understand
like it.
Nah, I was an adamant, I don't want Shanks to have a twin guy a while ago. But when I looked at it, I was like, what is is it just that the trope is goofy? Or is it actually bad writing? And when I sat with that thought process, I was like, there's nothing in the story that tells you that this dude can't have a twin
Yeah.
brother out there.
Because also,
there's nothing.
To me, I thought the Celestial Dragons were just like, getting with women in their own lineage, or just a Celestial Dragon.
They've been grabbing women off the
Yeah,
I don't say off
yeah.
the street, but they've
Yeah.
been this is my new wife.
It could be one. Not that it's possible. Say like they're twins, but like separate mothers. But I don't know how that's possible. They could be twins or they just look alike, whatever. But I thought of the fact that it's in a chest. What if someone tried hiding? That's what they separated at birth. Hiding one of the twins from Garling by putting him in the chest. Just like how Law was hidden from Doflamingo.
To like protect
Like-
him from being the son
Celestial
of the
Dragon.
figure
Yeah,
of Garland.
or not even just that. You don't want to have another Garling out there. You don't want to further the Celestial Dragon. So you kind of find a way. I don't know who did it, but anyway, that's why it's separated. So you have one that grew up with that, as in the Shanks look-alike, and you have the other one who's separated from that in that chest. It happened to be found by Roger.
Yeah.
And then Roger took that in. It was like, oh.
Oda set it up that we can't say it's bad writing because again, we don't know where Shanks is from.
No, anything
we just
about
like, why is a baby in the church in the first place? Either he had to crawl in there, or somebody literally put him there on purpose.
I could still go into the Man with the Iron Mask too, because that was my secondary
Oh, yeah.
one there.
But they did that already.
Yeah. Ought to be recycled.
But it's-
so.
Not with his own
No,
stuff.
but he makes references with for instance, the whole crocodile and Doflamingo thing. There's references inside references. Like
Yeah.
he took a little bit of the Man on the Iron Mask, but it's completely different. Because one, there's other twins like Sanji.
Yeah.
They're like him.
Either way, the point is the story of two children being separated at birth, one living the life of luxury in one way or being raised a royalty, etc.,
Yeah.
and the other one living the life in poverty, a pirate, whatever. Like having them live completely separate lives and seeing where they turn up and how they will be. Like that story can be dived into,
Yeah.
developed, and it can relay a message. I think that's probably where we're going here. And I don't know if this guy has known about Shanks this whole time, or if he actually was asking, like, yo, who is this pirate that looks just like me or not? Which would be weird. That would be a little goofy.
That would be goofy because it's been 39 years. You've never seen a wanted poster of Shanks. It's like,
But
wait, hold up.
So that goes into the how often do the Celestial Dragons care about the goings on of the sea below them?
They might.
No, but also,
How often? But if he's a God's Knight, you really need to be locked in, bro.
No,
You
I mean-
gotta have some level of knowledge.
yeah, information. Yeah.
It could be the fact that Shanks was making moves. Because Shanks, he makes, not saying mysterious moves like his brother, but like, he's like, I'm not saying he's going to calling out, yo, Shanks, I believe Shanks is going after the One Piece. Because that's just wild. How would you know that? If Oda's playing on the twin link, that's too much. But, you know what I'm saying? That's too much.
Before you know,
Oh,
he
man.
couldn't know about Shanks the whole time and say, yo, when am I going to take him out?
That could be that too.
Yeah.
Like, he could have known, like, yo,
Just say the word.
So when
or
we get
bring
out of
him,
here.
or bring him in the fold.
But that's all I got. You got more?
It just, when you look back at the Gorosei's conversation with the look-alike of Shanks, they kind of talk to him with, like, belittlement. They're like, what do you want? Why would you come all this way? This is the reverie. Given your standing, you should have nothing to do with politics. We only arranged this time on your request, and I appreciate it. And he goes, I appreciate that. There's a pirate I need to talk to you about. It kind of seems like he's a God's Knight for sure, though.
Yeah.
Because the God's Knights don't really deal with politics. They deal with the
Deal
punishment.
with the punishment of
Celestial dragons.
protection. Who cares what you guys think? Protect us. That's it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
All right. Hey Nakama, what's going on? This is Larry from That One Piece Talk. If you wish to become an official member of our channel, please hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, so when we go live on Mondays at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, you'll be able to catch us. And listen, don't be late to the party, because we're always one fan question away from crashing out on each other. Much love, Nakama. Jana.